So what should we do with these duplicated queries? Well, if you have seen my Entity Framework course, you're probably familiar with the repository pattern. If you haven't seen that course, you can simply go to YouTube and search for the repository pattern. I think the first video that you find there is my video. But basically, you can think of a repository as a collection of domain objects. We use this pattern to encapsulate queries. So here we have a fat query that we have repeated in 3 different places. And imagine in a larger, more complex applications, you're going to have a lot of queries like this. So repository pattern is one way to solve this problem. There is also another solution, which is called command and query object pattern. If you want to learn more about this pattern, I've written a blog post that you can find at this address. So back here, I want to create a repository. Repositories are part of our persistence. So in the persistence folder, I'm going to add a new class, vehicle repository. Now I'm going to define a method, public vehicle get vehicle. Let's import the namespace. Okay. Now I'm going to go back into controller, copy this code, and paste it in our repository. Now we need to make a few changes here. First, we need to make this async and add the task class here. Okay, next we need a DB context. So I'm going to create a constructor, vehicle repository, takes a Vega DB context. We call it context, initialized field from parameter. Beautiful. Now we need to import this include method. Done. And finally, I'm going to return this vehicle here. There's no need to declare a separate variable. So this is our vehicle repository with only one method, getVehicle. Note that this repository is simpler than the one I showed you in my Entity Framework course or in my YouTube video. There, I'm talking about the more generic pattern. So my repository there has other methods like add, remove, and so on. We're not going to add those methods yet because there is no value in doing so. So instead of building a complex repository object, just add enough to solve the problem at hand. Here we're dealing with a fat query, and the simplest repository we can create should have only one method, getVehicle.